So we have our fifth speaker, Nosipho Mathebula, and she'll be speaking on mathematics, ways on how to approach mathematics. So Nosipho studied Bachelor of Science in Mathematics at the University of Pretoria, currently pursuing postgraduate studies in applied mathematics with research interest application of topological data analysis models in financial markets at the University of South Africa. Attained certificates in business administration, financial markets, and instruments. Python for data science, leadership fundamentals, and business leadership and management. Member of the Golden Key International Honor Society, former chairperson of Crypto Giants, undergraduate maths research in group in mathematics at UP, where she founded the high school maths awareness campaign, tutored first-year statistics, calculus, algebra, volunteered as a grade 8 to grade 12 tutor with Oliko Youth and Golden Key. That's quite a lengthy profile. So let's put our hands together as we welcome Nosipho to the front.
I think I have the most toughest job today. But it's okay. I'm going to try and move away from the pulpit because I feel like it's obstructing how I'm seeing everyone. Okay, so as I've been introduced, I'm Nosipho, AKA the Dauntless Mathematician. I love all things mathematics. You can call me at midnight. We'll chat about maths all the time, anytime. I thought of titling this talk, Unveiling the Beauty of Mathematics. But then I thought no one will believe me if I use words like beauty for mathematics. So I want to hear from you guys. When you think mathematics, what comes to mind? So when I say mathematics, what comes to mind? Tapia? Pain, torture? Sorry? Variables. I like that one. Hey, there's people who are tortured. Good one. So a lot of things come to mind, right? But most of the time it's pain, torture, hard. We don't want to say it, right? But that's the thing. With mathematics, it's not just about the pain, it's not about the hard, it's not about the difficult, it's just math. I don't know when we got a bad rap. Maybe it's when mathematics started introducing variables instead of numbers. It was better when we had 1 + 1, right? So, my aim by the end of this is not only to convince you that math is beautiful, but try to demystify mathematics and pull down some of the things that we've been told about mathematics. Okay. When I say mathematics, this is what I mean. It looks intimidating, there's a lot of things, right? But if you look carefully, there's some fundamental things there that all of you are busy with. You have your pi up there at the top. You have numbers, you have rational numbers, things you know, right? And if I say 1, 2, 3, no one gets intimidated. But if I say maths, people get intimidated. But that's just there. And all of us interact with mathematics each and every day. Who plays video games or computer games? All of them based on mathematics in the background. So you're actually doing mathematics, you just don't know it, right? Social media, algorithms, all of them, mathematics. You're sitting on that chair, mathematics. Someone had to figure out how to space the legs in order to take your weight. What did they use? mathematics. Each and every speaker that was here used a bit of mathematics. You saw statistics that they were telling you about. What's the language behind? Mathematics. So it's some of the things we've been told that come and clutter our minds, and we have this negative perception of mathematics. But in essence, it's everywhere. If you ask the famous mathematician Gauss, he will tell you that when you look at mathematics, the beauty of it is that it is the queen of all the sciences. You ask Galileo Galilei, he'll tell you that mathematics is the language at which God wrote the universe. So even mathematicians agree that God is a mathematician himself. But we'll come back to that one at some point where I can have a one-on-one just speaking about mathematics. The thing about mathematics is the studying of mathematics. That's what we battle with. We battle not with the idea of it, we battle not with the subject itself, but we fail to appreciate that it is a language. And like with any other language, we have to have certain things in place in order to form sentences, form the paragraph, write the book, and eventually have a library. But it is us actually understanding the basics. So what's the first thing? The mindset. We need to cultivate a positive mindset around mathematics. Mathematics is not just for smart people. Mathematics is not just for guys, as we've heard, that boys might be better in mathematics, right? It is for everyone. But what we need to do is to say, I have the power in my hands to change how I view mathematics. Pastor Chris spoke about things that are within our control and out of our control. Your mindset is within your control. And one of the things you need to tell yourself is, if I say mathematics is difficult, then already I've put a barrier before attempting the subject. Then it is going to be difficult. Then you are going to procrastinate. I know, I've been down that journey. I used to think topology is difficult, and I wouldn't even open the textbook, only to find out it's just shapes. Okay? It's just shapes. It's understanding how those shapes relate to each other. So we change the mindset. And secondly, we build on strong foundations. This building is standing because the foundations are strong. Depending on how high you want the building to go, determines how deep the foundations need to be. If the foundations are not there, this building won't stand. Same thing with mathematics. If you don't get that 1 + 1 = 2, we won't be able to build on that and create the real line. From the real line, we won't be able to create things like geometry or trigonometry. Why? Because we don't know 1 + 1 = 2. But if we cultivate that in ourselves to say, okay, there are foundational things that I need to know. And it's not bad to go back to the foundations. I know at some point you're like, I'm in grade 10, but this thing maybe I was taught in grade 8, and you don't understand it. Go back to the grade 8 material. It makes it a whole lot easier, because if you're trying to build this house, but there is a gap in there, that wall won't stand, it will fall. And that reinforces that mindset that mathematics is hard. But it's just, if you had filled the foundation, the mindset will always be, oh, this is possible, this is building on that, right? So build strong foundations. Practice, practice, practice. Karen spoke about practice-based, right? Mathematics is that. It is a practice-based subject. You don't look at the equation and go, which I've seen, I won't say who, but if I look to my right, I see them. When you look at an equation and you go, oh yeah, I see how the teacher solved it. And you're looking at the memo, right? We've all done that. You got it wrong, and then you look at the memo and you're like, no, I can do this. Then I say, close the book. And I say, okay, solve. Same question. And you go, there was a 3. There was a 2. I'm not sure, but I'm supposed to get to a 7. That's how we end up with marking a paper where there's a 7 as the answer, correct answer. But somewhere in between, you got a revelation from the Holy Spirit that some of us didn't get. And it just gave you the answer. So practice. But how do you do this practicing of mathematics? 1, in class, you are introduced to a new concept. Read the theory of that concept. If it is exponents, what is an exponent? If it is fractions, what is a fraction? If it is quadratic equations, what are quadratic equations? By understanding those concepts, you remove the barrier. What barrier? I don't know what they're asking me in this question. So already you know exponents, they're asking me about exponents. I know exponents, your brain gets calmer. It's familiar, right? Secondly, you look at the questions you did in class, the examples. Your teacher gave you 5 examples, go through the examples again. Look through them, close your book, try and redo them. And if you see there are some gaps, you still have your book where the teacher walked you through it. Then, following day, don't look at everything, pick one question from the exercises and do the question. Practice doing the question. Why? Because from yesterday, your brain would have said, oh, we know this. But now we're saying if it is shown to you differently, are you still able to apply the principles and the concepts that are there? So practice the question. You don't have to do a lot. You can do 2. But the important thing is we need to reinforce the neural pathways associated with that concept. So you keep on need to see it. Kellen spoke about spaced repetition, right? So you use spaced repetition instead of sitting with 10 problems and be like, yeah, today I'm done. I'll see it in the test. Try and create space in between building that information. Okay. Another thing, past papers or exam papers. Why? When you do past papers, you know how the concept is tested. So you will understand from the concept, from the principle, what is it exactly that I need to know and how do I need to apply it? It's easy if in class we say 1 + 1 is 2. But if I come in a test and I say to you, give me 2 numbers that whether I add them or subtract them or multiply them, they will give me this. In your head, you'll be like, she never taught us this. Never, right? Still the same principle, but now I'm just asking you to fill in the gaps to see that when I said 1 + 1 is 2, you actually got that 1 + 1 was 2. So do the questions. Another thing, it lessens your anxiety when you get into the exam room and actually do the paper because you know how you are tested. There's nothing like entering an exam room or a test room and you have no idea how that paper is going to be structured. Okay, are we still good? Okay. Review your mistakes. No one wants to go back and see and say, I did this badly. No one. Even adults. They don't like to say, I don't know this thing. But review your mistakes. Your mistakes are there to help you see the gaps. So if you do a problem, you get stuck. And you're like, the teacher made a circle or underlined. Then you know there was an issue there. Why did she underline? When you get why you made the mistake there, you fix that mistake. The next time you won't make the same mistake. And the next thing, you get full marks. But what we do, we go, okay, it was out of 5, I got a 3. Not bad, not bad. And we focus on the ones that we just got a 0 on. But imagine if you start looking at the 2s that you didn't get. Next time you get the full 5. The one you got 0, you now get a 3 out of 5. You're doing what? You're compounding your learning. So in the first test, you knew 25%, but you're going in the next test knowing 30%. And never underestimate that small increment. An increment is an increment regardless of how small it is. Okay. Make notes as you study. I know Kellen and notes. As I qualify, I was very afraid of talking about this point. What do I mean? Who's done geometry? Okay? And I'm assuming the same people have done trigonometry. Right? Every step has a reason in geometry. Why? Because we're not testing the answer, we're testing, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? So tell me, reason with me. Use the same concept even when you're doing algebra, especially when the concept is being taught. Right there. Oh, she said it's 2 because of this. So that when you're at home and you're like, she said 2, why? But write why the 2 was there, especially if you sort of kind of missed how she got to the 3rd stage or something. Those little notes help you as you review for your tests and also as you do more practice problems. Okay. The last one is have a support system. And I can't stress this one enough. Pure mathematicians are known for working alone. But that's a lie that's been put out there. Because every mathematician works with another mathematician in order to get something great out there. We are not standing because you're just an island and you just do your own thing. But you go to a friend, you go to your teachers, you go to your tutors, you go to your brothers or sisters. Have those people help you. I grew up where my homework, I never had tutors, there was no such thing back in the day. But what I had were neighbors that I knew were good at certain subjects, and I utilized that. I got a 90% for my Zulu paper in my matric. And the person who was tutoring me Zulu was a pastor at my parents' church. Not qualified, doesn't have, but he was a pure Zulu-speaking man. So the things that he taught me were useful, and I could utilize them. So use the people around you. You don't have to pay for every resource, but learn to utilize the people around you. Especially in Science Connect, I believe we have a good resource pool. Before I go to my last slide, I want to demonstrate something. Everyone gets nervous. I want to demonstrate something when it comes to how you can make it fun and remember some of the concepts for mathematics, right? I'm going to write 4 quadratic equations. Don't worry, they're not hard. But there's something I want to show you that if you know these 4 and what they mean, I do not believe there's any quadratic equation that you cannot do. So I'm going to write the general form first, and then we're going to do one example. Hopefully people are still with me by the time I turn around. I think signs are not the same. Yes. Okay. When you look at these 4, I think all of us have solved something like this, right? at some point. Okay. I want to show you something, what they actually mean. This is like the general form, right? This equation actually tells you that when you're opening your two brackets, right? Let's have an x here, right? And then we'll have some number here. It's telling you that the signs are going to be the same in this bracket. Right? And both are positive. So this one tells you which signs you're going to put there. Are they the same or not the same? And this one tells you, is it positive, is it negative? This one says the signs are different, right? Negative, difference. The signs are different. The bigger one should be positive. And it goes the same. The signs are different. The bigger one is going to be negative. The signs are the same. Both are negative. Demonstration. If you can solve this equation, okay? Factors of 4, 2 and 2, what are the other ones? Okay, 4 and 1. One day we'll go back to the 4 and 1. We said this means signs are the same and both are. You can do your FOIL method and you'll see that it goes back to that one, right? And if you know some of these techniques, I can give you any problem, you'll be able to solve it. Because already I've told you, the equation tells you, signs are the same, both are positive, signs are not the same, bigger one should be positive, not the same, bigger one negative. Mathematics. Doesn't have to be hard all the time. Matriculants, this will make you finish the algebra part quicker, if you know it, right? Then I'm going to show you a trig one, and then I'll close. In trig, you have identities, and the identities build on each other, right? You know one, if you can manipulate, but sometimes there's no time to be doing all that manipulation in the exam. I believe those who've done trig have seen this. Right? The famous identity. And then there's 2 more. I'm going to write them out, but I'm going to be saying something as I write them out. A body and a 10. Forgive me for saying this word in church, is sexy. A body and a cot is cozy. I don't need to memorize much. As long as I know the phrase, the identity is already there. So these are some of the things that come with practicing mathematics. You end up coming with ways of making this information a part of you so that you are able to retrieve it when you need it. Same thing with when Colin was using the flashcards, you can have your identities on a flashcard and ask yourself, okay, double angles, half angles, what are the equations? And use flashcards. Okay, I'll leave it there for now because when it comes to me and the board, all day, every day. Okay, and lastly, remember the fundamentals. If there's anything you forget everything I've said. First one, foundational concepts are important. Don't try to build a skyscraper and your foundations are weak. 2, understanding comes through practice. If you do not practice, there won't be understanding. And lastly, never give up. It's easy for us when things are hard or are perceived as hard that we just go, it's not for me, I'm quitting. No, I can't do this, it's for, especially when it comes to subjects and we say, no, I can't do pure maths, I'm going to maths led. But you want to be an engineer. You understanding that you want to be an engineer, let it drive you to never give up, even when things get hard. And I like this cartoon. You must just make peace with being bad at first. All of us were bad at something. I think it was Pastor Mongezi who made the analogy when we were speaking about developing competence of a baby learning to walk. Imagine if your baby took 3 steps and is like, this thing is not for me. None of us would be walking, but the baby understands, I need to go through this phase. When others are walking, the baby is crawling, but they understand they're in the crawling phase. And same thing with each and every one of you. Acknowledge where you are and know that that is not always where you're going to be. There are resources and ways for you to get to the place where you want to be. And one day you'll be walking. But if you take 3 steps and you say, this walking thing is not for me, you will never walk. And guess what? You will say, I can't walk. But you can walk. You have the ability. But it is just you being patient with being bad at first. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nosipho. Maths is funny. It was always to me. But I think the purpose of that presentation, as Nosipho said, was to demystify it a little bit, remove some of the fear out. And maths can be fun. Maths can be exciting. It just depends how much you put into it, but it's not insurmountable. It's not like if I'm doing bad, it's inevitable that I'm going to be doing bad in maths for the rest of my life. You can actually turn it around. So we're hoping you're going to do that.